Welcome back to the channel. Today we explore the dirty and brutal crackdown on the Mau Mau Uprising in Kenya, a chapter of colonial violence often hidden from history books. In the 1950s, as Kenyan nationalists rose up against British colonial rule, the British government responded with massive repression, torture, and assassination campaigns. The story of the Mau Mau suppression isn't just about war. It's about systematic human rights abuses carried out to silence a push for freedom. Let's dive into the dark truth behind this bloody and controversial era. What was the Mau Mau Uprising? The Mau Mau Uprising, which began around 1952, was a rebellion by Kenyan fighters, mainly from the Kikuyu ethnic group, against British colonial rule. The rebels sought land reform and independence after decades of dispossession and oppression. To the British, however, the Mau Mau were branded as terrorists, justifying extreme military action. Martial law was declared, and Kenya was placed under a brutal state of emergency. What followed was not just a counterinsurgency, it was a systematic campaign of terror and control. The Crackdown and Assassinations. During the crackdown, British forces and colonial loyalists carried out assassinations, extrajudicial killings, and widespread torture. Thousands of suspected Mau Mau members were arrested, tortured, or executed without trial. Many were killed in screening centers, essentially torture camps where brutal interrogations took place. Leaders of the Mau Mau were specifically targeted, often captured and killed in secret to break the movement's spirit. Perhaps the most infamous case was the arrest and later execution of Dedan Kimathi, a leading Mau Mau general whose death marked a turning point in the resistance. Why it's considered dirty? Widespread use of torture and extrajudicial executions, violating international law and basic human rights. Suppression of political dissent by framing a nationalist movement as pure terrorism. Mass detentions without trial. Up to 1.5 million Kenyans were held in detention camps under horrific conditions. Official cover-up. For decades, the British government denied the extent of the abuses, only partially admitting guilt after lawsuits in the 21st century. The dirty tactics were about more than defeating an uprising. They were aimed at preserving colonial power at any cost. The long-term impact. Kenya achieved independence in 1963, but the scars of the Mau Mau crackdown linger today. Many survivors live with the trauma of torture and loss, and some families are still seeking justice. In 2013, the British government issued an official apology and agreed to compensate a small number of victims, but many argue it was too little, too late. The Mau Mau story has since been reclaimed as a symbol of resistance and resilience. The brutal suppression of the Mau Mau Uprising was one of the dirtiest episodes of colonial rule, exposing how far an empire would go to protect its interests. It serves as a grim reminder that freedom is often won at a terrible cost, and that history's victors don't always tell the full story. If this story opened your eyes, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more investigations into hidden histories. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What other untold stories should we cover next? Until then, stay curious.